I chose them this place, so I hope that they're a welcome into our evening. So this is called Directions. If ever I'm gone, and you remember the fairy houses, go. Begin at the front door of my red brick elementary school, keeping the church at your heels and your toes towards the forest. Don't be troubled by the desert of boiling black asphalt that surges before you. This parking lot sings and swells with knowing the day will begin. The day will end. Keep moving towards the forest, love. Soon, the honeysuckle will itch your toes. You'll see the oaks are older than the church steeple. Look in the nooks between the roots. That's where the fairies live. Build them something nice, would you? Weave fresh grass for a blanket. Give them a smooth piece of bark for the door. Could you give the house a name and write it in the dirt? And could you leave before sunset, please, so the magic can come home?
All righty.
Okay, this is a fun little love poem that celebrates trees and queerness, both of which are abundant in Kentucky. So okay, so this is Ode to Winter Lichen as drag. My dear, you shimmy where the solstice offers her benediction against concrete sky, leafless forest, cold clay mound of earth. Crimson berries dazzle the tree's fingertips, and darling, you backbend, twirl, luxuriate across its chorus of elbows. You are organ pipes, alive with incense, copper on the dome of the church that married my parents and then baptized me. Symbiosis is named for you, and still, scientists can't understand you even after all these years. Trinity of stardust, we hum with the symphony of you.
Yes.
And lastly, I'm gonna read you a cento. Anybody know what a cento is? Yeah, a cento is a collage poem. So you're basically taking like words from all different sources. You're taking it from a novel or a poem, mostly poems, but whatever, your grocery receipt. And you're taking these lines from other folks and you're rearranging them into your own kind of weaving of words. So this is a cento to welcome you here, like here. But I didn't write it for here, but it belongs here. So a cento to welcome you here. And when you were a tree, you listened to trees and the tree things trees told you. God ain't a he or a she, but a it. I believe God is everything. For every atom belonging to me as good belongs to you. I love you because it is the natural order of things.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Thank you, Meg. Now we're going to welcome up Mr. Jim Embry, who I'm proud to call a friend now, but among other things, he was born in Richmond. He's been a hero of the slow food movement and environmental activism. In his words, he's an agrarian intellectual activist. He's the founder and director of Sustainable Communities Network, a member of Slow Food USA, a founding member of the Good Foods Co-op, and a founder of the Kentucky Black Farmers Cooperative. He also won the James Beard Award for Sustainability last March. He's applause. He's published a variety of essays and speeches, and today he's going to read something real special for us. He also just celebrated his 75th birthday last week. Jim Embry.
Go down, Moses. Way down
in Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. One more phrase. Go down, Moses, way down, native cafe land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. That isn't just a historical, biblical account of humanity. It's a current urgency, current necessity of how do we recognize the Pharaoh-ness within ourselves, within our institutions, within our government, corporations. Then how do we become then the Moses of our people? And the people are human people, they're tree people, the rock people, water people, air people, fire people. That's our work, is to free all the people. But we can't just rely on typical male dominant patriarchal notion of Moses. What we could do is reach back and find another Moses, like a Harriet Tubman. Hope you know her story. Taking folks who were chained, bound. Sister Girl went back a number of times. Now the brothers, you know, like Douglas and William Brown, love them. As I recall reading they didn't go back. Harriet did that. So we honor her and we honor them, the Moses within all of us. To be here is an honor and a blessing for me. I've known John and Claudia for 30 plus years, working in community and doing all kinds of things. Work with co-op, work on creating landscape design at different locations, artwork. So for me to be here and to do a reading is really a blessing. Now, Sister Ella mentioned that I'm an old country boy. That's all I am. I was born in Richmond, Kentucky, which is at the foothills of Appalachian Mountains. The area that's fed by Kentucky River watershed and nourished by soil, mineralized very heavily with limestone rock. That's who I am. It's who we all are. We're not really someone from yours, Kentucky. UK ain't fed nobody like the soil and the air and the water has. We have to return to the sense of source. So my work has been, for many years, a movement activist. I call ourselves now agrarian roots, intellectual, we know something, activists. And I encourage all of us to think about things like that, of what our work is. Sister Elka's been so kind, she mentioned this. People think, that old crazy fool didn't win no James Beard Award. Keep making this shit up. Well, no, that's true. I'm gonna pass around so I can feel it. Okay, y'all, I didn't buy it in the Cracker Jack box. But what was mentioned was, you know, we all probably love and know Rita Michael, dear friend. We've been nominated for James Beard 5, 6, 7 times. Never won. Never won. But here you have someone from Kentucky. I don't know all the data, you know, of who's won from Kentucky. Probably very few, if any at all. We should all be exclaiming, shouting loud, there are two people from Kentucky who won one of these awards. Myself and dear friend, Larry Horn from Whitesburg, 2 out of 6. Let me say that again. Okay, y'all, like you're hard of hearing. I got the mic on. I ain't got the mic on. Yeah, hard of hearing. Out of 6 people who won the leadership awards, it's here somewhere, 2 are from Kentucky. No, they said, now you lying again. Oh, well, I mean, here's the proof. It's in the program, you know. Don't believe it. Here it is. I know. You know, here it is. And out of those 6 people who won, 3 of us was called seed people. 3 out of 6. So sister name, Jessica Harris. Pound the Hog, Badass Sisters. You know, was the MC that gave us, you know, at the stage, introduced us. And she said on stage, 3 of you out of 6 were seed people. To remind us that all the great restaurant owners, all the great chefs rely on the seed to do what we do. So I have a book coming out. I thought it was gonna be out by now, called Black and Green. It'll be like a Jim Embry reader. It'll be an accumulation, compilation of about 20 years of writings. This table here represents a few of those articles, essays, blogs, photographs that I've contributed to many different publications over the years. So it'd be an accumulation of those items. We've got the front cover kind of design. It's called Black and Green. It's got, you know, black and bold, you know, blackness, green, because some years ago, as I was working, you know, in the co-op and various other environmental issues, like back in the 70s, this is all part of this improvising about what's in the book. Okay, if you will. You might remember they were trying to dam Rim River Gorge way back in the 60s and 70s. I was part of that campaign, and we stopped. I was just there last week. I was just there this past weekend. You know, going to if you haven't been, you ought to go. You know, Caperas Falls and hung out in Miguel's and hung out, you know, pizza and whatever. But so back in those days, even up until the last 30 years ago, people thought that Black folk weren't environmentalists. We thought, well, hey, you know, we know you're about justice, and you know, food apartheid and all of that. But like, hey, brother, like you'll be into this other stuff, 350.org and things like that. So it was labeled Black and Green. I took that, you know, that designation is now the book title. So I want to do also I came here to give away stuff. Okay. In springtime, everybody should grow something. Okay. Everybody should grow something. Everybody eats. The universe has many different principles. One's called reciprocity. Right now, we aren't being very reciprocal as a species. So I brought here a lot of things to give away. So pass some things around, take what you want to. The idea of transformation is in the book coming out. Here's some more things here. Up here are some envelopes. Come pass some things around if you would. Come take these. But in the book, I'm talking about some of our work with corporations. I have an article that's in an environmental journal. That'll be in the book. Anybody here know Columbia Gas? Okay, y'all might know Columbia Gas. You know, they operate in 5 states. They have 45,000 miles of transmission lines. And we're all part of what's called the Kentucky Pollinator Working Group. And in there are people like Bayer, Monsanto, the large statewide body. And heretofore, they had been, just talking about now Columbia Gas, in the spraying Roundup all along these 45,000 miles of transmission lines in 5 states. I spoke to their group about 3 years ago and talked about, earth care and, pathways of earth-centric, women-centric, things like that. 3 months later, they called. The things you said have impacted us. You said, what I said to them, we all have to change. They said, well, help us. They began 3 or 4 years ago, changing their whole strategy. Now they buy seeds from the packet here for what's called roundstone seeds. You ought to know about them, okay? They're friends of ours. Native seeds in Kentucky. So now we're in the process, last 3 or 4 years, of rather than spraying Roundup, they're cutting things down and replanting low-growing pollinators, white clover, red clover, and things like that. Over 45,000 miles in 5 states. When we talk about this idea of being an agrarian intellectual activist, that's just some of the results we're talking about. And that whole sequence will be in the new book again. It's about 300 pages. It covers 20 years. I was asked by UK, I was a UK student back in the day, helped found Black Student Union. Brother Frank, Sister Chana's here. In many ways, the BSU gave the president back then 15 demands. We got them all. President Oswald. One of the demands was for UK to hire Black faculty, women faculty, and things like that. So this is some of the after effects of students like me being out of school for a year, things like that. But those kind of results, those kinds of changes are important. So all of us right now are at a point where we all need to be involved in this movement to sanity. The sanity. Okay. How do we heal this disconnect between humans and what's called non-human natural world? I mentioned to John and Claudia that to go around and speak, even when I was in James Beard Award, I said, James Beard needs to have a new category. He said, what is that? I said, go online and do a search for Kentucky Native Cafe. Okay. And then you will see what I think ought to be like the lead, as in building construction, the lead silver category for restaurants of the future. Okay. Which should look like what we have in Kentucky. Come visit, come hang out, because for humans' first 3 million years existence, this is how we ate. We ate from the forest largely. We ate within the trees, within the flora and the fauna, because they were all family. So we're having a great remembering of how things used to be. So I hope you all will also join me sending a note to the James Beard folks and say, crazy Embry said, and I did, and we support that idea. Let's begin to think differently about restaurants of the future. In Kentucky, there's a model. I try to run a whole lot. I don't see what I see here in the fashionable Chicago, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, whatever else. So what we have here, I think, is an absolute treasure. We love these folks so very dearly, and keep spreading the word and get people out here to support not only this business, but the overall effort here at Nicholas Florence. So what I want to do is, again, this book, Black and Green, is an compilation, articles, blogs, speeches, presentations I've done in the last 20 years. Matter of fact, back to UK again, the UK library called me about 4 years ago. So, you know, when it comes to activists, we haven't really honored what y'all have been doing all these years. You all transformed. But we've honored the scholars. Okay, we've honored certain people who made a difference. But for activists, we haven't done that. So, well, we're going to try to correct it. So they asked me to, and we're processing that out, to deposit some 60 years, what we call activist papers in the UK archives. We signed some things, you got to sign some release forms, and I got to box stuff up. Speaking of writings, I wrote, it won't be in this book, it doesn't go back that far. I'm 14 years old. By then I was the state youth chairman for NAACP. I marched for the March on Frankfurt. I wrote an editorial in the newspaper talking about injustice, segregation, old black codes, redlining, things like that as a youngster. So the third Black and Green book will go back that far, some almost 6 years that I began my writing. But what I wanted to do, about 2010, I was asked to help co-write this book here, Sustainable World Source Book. I also put in there some photographs. We'll do a reading of the last page where they're taking a quote from one of my speeches. Okay, I'll show one of the images in the book. It says, when you get old eyes, okay, we stand at a critical moment of Earth's history when humanity must choose its future. The future of once holds great peril and great promise. We must recognize that we are one human family, one Earth community with a common destiny. Change will happen whether we like it or not. But we must be the change we seek in the world. It's a long paragraph. That's that publication. You can still get it online. You can, go to all the different book platforms. It's about 3 or 4 times. But I've been working around the whole question of sustainability since 1979. Back to these folks here from the UK. I was then working at the community college, and we had, I designed a program in 79. It was called Energy in the Way We Live. And it was a conference focused primarily on what then was called alternative energy, like solar, wind, geothermal. It was also critical of fossil fuels and critical of coal. At the conference, went well, had some great speakers. Then about a month later on, I got a letter or I got a note from the community college director. It said, come to a meeting. I said, oh, okay, I must be going to get some praises for this conference we put on. It was outstanding. But I got written up. Why? Because UK was so wedded to coal, they didn't want anybody being critical of the coal industry. They said, this will be your last conference on energy. I said, well, my wife, got 2 kids. I said, it sure will be. But back then they called those things alternative energy. Now, see, I get old, I forget stuff. The sun shines every day. The wind blows every day. Geothermal is all over the earth. How can it be alternative? They're taking words, twisted. So my point is that I began my work around what we now call sustainability in 79, a while back. I do about 30 or 40 talks a year for higher education. And about a year ago, I met up with a young lady from, sister from Washington, D.C., works for federal government, works for FEMA. And we formed since then what we call the Systems Transformation Partnership. Part of our focus is on higher education. Higher education. Trying to help higher education transform itself to being a place where the earth matters. Right now, it's my position. There's two friends of mine who have a book out, I want to take the notes, called Planet You. Called Planet You. Two friends from Canada. It's subtitled Reinventing Higher Education as if the earth mattered. So when we're speaking around the country, I was just in Cornell last week for 3 days. I was up at Ohio State for a couple of days. I was up at Yale with Reverend William Barber, Environmental Joy. I've been to Stanford twice. I've been on calls with them 3 times about a number of things, time and action plan. And I present 6 pathways to a sustainable future. And again, these are those presentations, again, will be in the book, but there are speeches, but they'll be in there transcribed. I'm now moving from this book, and from 79, I've now created called 6 pathways to a sustainable future. The first pathway, which we see here, is earth-centric and woman-centric. Talking about the future, aren't we? Being sustainable. That's the first pathway. If you go on the UK website, look up Sustainability Center. If you go to Stanford, you go to Yale, Harvard, you will find all kinds of words about sustainability, but you won't find on any of those websites anything about earth-centric, woman-centric. Our last check, I could be wrong now. I would say a lot, you know, go to Google and look up who we all come through. Our last check, we all come through women. Which means, yeah. Can I get a something? Can I get a little something for my work? But what has happened over the years, there's a matrix, there's a, you know, Eisenhower warned us about this military industrial complex. I call it now military industrial higher ed complex, based upon patriarchal values, and we dismiss those things within sustainability. The second pathway is indigenous wisdom. That we're here on Turtle Island, last 500 years. This cafe is here, called for 30-some thousand years. People call indigenous Native American have honored and blessed this land. That's now part of our blessing. So the way forward is how do we embrace, understand, begin to ritualize those kinds of traditions. The third pathway is what I call George Washington Carver and the African-American ethos. Those two combined take me back to the country's founding, based upon what I call stolen land, indigenous people, and stolen labor from African people to do what? To do agriculture in ways, which means the nation's foundational contradiction is in food and agriculture. Okay. So third pathway again was George Washington Carver, African American ethos. The fourth pathway is youth, art, and hip hop. They're all kind of combined. Youth, art, and hip hop. The future and how well we relate to young people. Art, we're all like walking art. The ability to have language, walk on 2 feet, perfect sacred geometrical configuration. Is art without having to do anything. We're already art. And hip hop. I travel a whole lot. Wherever I go, we're doing hip hop. I'm saying to the higher education, sustainability centers, where's Queen Bee at? I don't mean, you know, I'm a beekeeper. Okay, I'm a beekeeper. I don't mean the queen bee in the hive. I'm talking about Beyonce, Lizzo, people like that, ought to be singing the song about sustainability, but they're not.
Well,
So, youth, art, and hip hop. Then the fifth category, terra madre and seed work. Again, I brought all kinds of seeds. I brought some peanuts, represent George Washington Carver, and corn representing, indigenous people, and, some seats for, I'm wearing this pajama shirt. It's a new initiative years ago, BIPOC led, with seed farmers. I have up here, they're all free, some free seeds. Again, everybody should grow something. So the terra madre, this photo over here, I've been 7 times to the Italy for slow foods terra madre. We have Arc of Taste. We do some incredible kind of things. In my view, the terra madre movement is a global movement. It's the most revolutionary, transformative movement on the planet because it's all food and ag related. So, terra madre, seed work. The 6th pathway is vision that is transformative. And again, Embry Cafe on that vision. We're in transition as a species. Okay, we're in transition as a species. And what are the ways forward? What I'm saying, that vision has to include how we reconnect the idea of eating within the complex of the natural world. That helps us heal as humans. Right now, we're bordering on insanity. Okay, I'm just saying that's just as a species. But we're the youngest on the planet anyway. We're the youngest. So in closing, I'm going to say that a friend of mine gave me as a birthday gift these butterflies. Has them around, you can touch, feel them okay. Because in my view, they represent where we are as a species. And I have in my book coming out a whole article called The Butterfly Effect. The butterfly, called Butterfly Effect. I was blessed to have met numerous women, Joanna Macy, Elizabeth Sartorius, who helped me understand how the butterfly can be a metaphor for where we are as a species. And right now we've moved past somewhat the caterpillar stage species. Okay, eating everything up on stuff, pooping everywhere, living on, if you're a monarch butterfly, you live on one plant your entire life if you're a caterpillar. Does that agree? If you're a caterpillar, monarch, you live on one plant your entire life. Then you grow and you get fat and your cocoon gets formed. And all the cells in there dissolve. Within those cells was called imaginal cells. Those asking Sister Ella here and John and Claudia and other folks, we should be having some signs that when you come through here, Native Cafe represents an imaginal cell. I invite all of you here to see yourself as an imaginal cell. And what you're doing, you're taking this massive cells that have dissolved, being a caterpillar, and you're trying to go about reordering the caterpillar to become a what? A butterfly. That's where we are as a species. I worked for many years with different women in risk groups, like the Crystal's House, women going through drug and alcohol addiction. Back then it was called Bluegrass Domestic Violence Program. Now it's called Greenhouse 17. I have in the book a whole article, it was in the Herald Leader, about my work with what's now called Greenhouse 17. And you can now get a degree in called therapeutic horticulture. Okay, now get a degree in that. So, what's your name, dear sister?
Savannah.
Savannah. Okay, Savannah, rest of us. Suppose, Savannah, you were an imaginal cell in this chrysalis, and you're telling Sister Shauna over here, Shauna, you used to be the feet of the caterpillar. Okay? And so, and Shauna said, I'm gonna be a wing. Said, yeah, you're gonna be a wing. You were the feet. You're gonna be a wing. She's like, what? I don't know. But you're gonna be a wing, so it's okay. So just come on, get with it. And suppose Ella tells me, well, Embry, butt. Okay, you was the butt of the caterpillar. But now you're gonna be the proboscis. Okay? That goes about tasting. That. That's where we are. So part of my work has been over these many years is to try to be about social change, transformation. What keeps me joyful every day is the potentiality, the possibilities. But what I've learned to be that way, and I invite you all, isn't from me, wasn't from UK, but from my ancestors. They were people who paved the way for me. So I encourage you to seek, go back in your ancestral lineage, because we all come from indigenous people. I trace it back. Plus, I got news for you. We don't want to dishonor and expropriate this from Native Americans about being indigenous. I spoke out in Spokane several years ago, and I said that we're all indigenous to the earth. Can I get a choir? Can we all say we're all indigenous to the earth? That's our work. Thank you all. Love you all very much.
Thank you, Jim, Embry. We're gonna take a 10-minute break for everybody to stretch their legs and get a drink.
Come and get,
Drink eggs walking.
come and get seeds. Seeds, book. I got seed catalog. Oh no.
Got that everyone is so, you know, that kind of reminder about all probably, like if you went to church, every week at church, on Sundays, you're preaching about land. That's a good idea. It's pretty famous. Did you get to
Like,
get to what happened?
Walking along through the truck, go down, and like a bird. Yeah, yeah. So
Switch your teaching. Okay. I think it's worth it. I think your personal project is more important than you're already a teacher. You literally went up there and read a book and taught us what a cento was. Like you can't help it. You can't help it. You're like I don't have any doubts that you'll be like a great teacher. So
but you don't really see all these guys. That's what I thought. I thought it looked like a reflecting. Yeah.
Pick some of those,
Show them the app.
Yeah, you know, the energy. Positive, energy,
It's the RECC, does that? Yeah. I can buy it back for. And do you, did you get, like, tax rebates, government support, 30% of the funds? That's a good point. Well, it makes things like that feasible, you know, it's not. And they said the prison is, you only want to do it if you're gonna be there for.
my goal is try to
Yeah,
pick up.
yeah. I mean, some people that are moving around a lot. Yeah. For them to do. Look like that. Well, somebody might bet, you know, something. And, somehow. It's not like that, you feel it's in I'm going out 64. Oh, wow, yeah. Yeah. So KU or what is that? And they're all individual like that. Well, I think there's some opposition in the park now. Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, you can put it on. Future value. You know, what you want. Yeah. A long train.
Land-based education. Someone like more. Gotta have.
Any hardscape areas that you don't want them.
So that's the way.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm saying, like,
Well, some of the, like, so somewhere in Cincinnati, I don't know where it is, the whole parking area
where they can.
is covered by raised solar panels covering the whole parking lot. Yeah, okay, which makes sense. It's already
Thank
the needed. Gains energy with solar panels. Yeah, it's sort of the west. Yeah. Parking garages are good, and then you put the solar panels at the top. Synergistic kind of thing.
I know, I was thinking, I have a line.
Because you've got different government.
Come here.
But see, that's the. you don't want to do anything.
Like, huh, G. Gordon told me.
Yeah, but that's a very small footprint. And it's a huge, it's significant as far as land. These solar.
No, that's
It's like very familiar. I mean, you and all that stuff. Methane. Oh, yeah, no, I don't. I think you're reading it for that. Sheep and goats under there. Yeah. Yeah. Huh. We just got a lot to learn, you don't think about this stuff. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. when you think about it.
So I think